Welcome to our second installment on community signs. In the previous video, we went over community signs that were commonly encountered in outdoor environments. In this presentation, we'll talk about community signs that you might encounter indoors and outdoors in a variety of different locations. So, what are community signs in general? Well, generally speaking, community signs refer to symbols or a combination of symbols and words that we encounter in our everyday environment. They can be found indoors and outdoors, at school and at home. Okay? Community signs often indicate the rules of a given area, or they provide us with information on the behavioral expectations we are to follow. Community signs are also sometimes called survival signs because they indicate the location of various important places, and they also cue us or inform us of danger or possible threats that we must heed for our own personal safety. So knowing what community signs are is really important. So common community signs, here's some pictures of them. You might see these when you are walking, you might see them when you're driving, you might see them when you are opening a container, when you are at school, when you are in an unfamiliar place. They really are just found in a variety of locations. So let's talk about safety survival community signs. I'm just going to go straight through it. So this first sign on the top left is the poison sign, okay? It indicates the presence of poison or toxic materials. So when you see this sign, do not attempt to eat or drink anything that has this symbol on it, because it means that you will get sick, that you will need to call the Poison Control Center, and that you will likely need to go to the hospital for treatment. The second sign says, beware of dog. This sign means that there are guard dogs nearby and one should not attempt to gain access or try to play with the dogs. Oftentimes these signs are used on fences to indicate that the dogs are not friendly or they are aggressive towards strangers. Okay, so if you see this sign, just steer clear of the area, be cautious and wary of any dogs nearby that you might see, okay, because that probably means that they are guard dogs and they are guarding private property. The third sign is, of course, the caution wet floor sign. Oftentimes, when a custodian is cleaning an area, they'll put this sign out, or for an area that's just been cleaned, the sign will be visible. It basically means that you need to take caution of the ground you are walking on. It is wet and slippery, and you could potentially fall and hurt yourself. So avoid the area and walk around it or go an entirely different direction. You don't want to fall on wet floor, especially if it's wet linoleum or other hard surfaces, because you can break bones, you can give yourself sprains. It's not a fun time. The last one on the left side says private property, no trespassing. This sign indicates that the area ahead is privately owned property, okay? A person owns it or maybe the government owns it, and we cannot enter without the explicit permission of the owners. Trespassing or entering without permission is actually a crime punishable by law. Also, people are entitled to the right to protect themselves, and so if you enter private property and they don't know what your intentions are, they might try to I don't want to say harm you, but they will try to protect themselves, which means you could get harmed in the process. So we definitely, you see the sign, we steer clear of the area. On the right column, at the very top, we have a danger high voltage sign. This sign means that the materials or area ahead contain high wattages of electricity. So touching anything or going near the area can result in electrocution. You might get electric shock and damage to the electrical grid. If you were to enter an area that has a sign and you damage something, it's also a crime punishable by law, okay? Because things can catch on fire, people can lose power to their homes, or you could get electrocuted. That means, your body receives a painful shock. The third sign, red and black, it looks like an open flame. And this sign indicates that the item or object is highly flammable. That means it is a combustible item. If an open flame or candle is near it, it will catch on fire, and oftentimes it is uncontrollable. You're unable to put it out unless you have a fire extinguisher nearby. So doing so, having an open flame near something that has this flammable sign can result in uncontrollable fire and severe burns. So you don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to set fire to a place because you could be responsible for any damages that are incurred. The very last sign is a no swimming sign. Okay, you might see this at the ocean in certain areas. You might see this in like local rivers or lakes. And what the sign means is basically that we cannot swim in the general area. There might be unseen hazards below the water. There might be unsafe animals in the water, or the water itself might be toxic. So I've seen this sign in certain beaches in San Diego, and the reason why you can't swim there is because there's sewage in the water. And so when there's sewage, that means it's people's human waste, and therefore there's a lot of bacteria and viruses in it, and you can become sick. All right, so we don't want to swim in any place that has a no swimming sign. All right, the next installment are location and community signs. These are signs that you will often see when you are driving or walking. So in the top left column, we have a giant white H against a blue background. This sign means that there is a hospital nearby, generally in the direction that the sign is pointing. Okay, so typically the sign will be followed underneath with an arrow, and that will tell you what direction the hospital is in. So you will go here if you are feeling sick and you need a doctor. The second sign says police station, and it has an arrow. This sign means, of course, that there is a police station nearby in the direction that the sign is pointing. Go here if you need help from police. The third sign has a black fire truck against a yellow background. This sign means that there's a fire station nearby. So that means firefighters work there. They have fire engines. Normally, firefighters respond to 911 calls, so you don't really need to go to them, okay? There are people who will come to you. And same for police. A lot of times when you call 911, the police will come to you. However, if you're in the area and you need help, you can also go to the police station. Let's say to like file a report, or if you feel in danger, you can go there for safety. The last sign in the left column says United States Post Office. It has what looks like a white eagle against a blue background. And so this sign indicates that the establishment is a licensed United States Postal Office. So it's legitimate. Go here if you need to mail a letter or package, or if you need to buy stamps. At the top of the right column over here, we have what looks like a gas station symbol. And so this sign means that there is a gas station ahead on the next off-ramp so that you can refuel your vehicle. All right. A lot of times gas stations also have restrooms. They also have maybe a small convenience store so that you can purchase snacks and drinks. But again, not all gas stations have that, especially after hours. Some gas stations, they close the convenience side of the store down so that you can only pay at the pump. So just keep that in mind if you're driving and it's late. The second sign is blue and it says rest area with an arrow. This sign means that there are restrooms and a walking area ahead so that you can relieve yourself and you can stretch your legs. The walking area is also really helpful if you are traveling with pets so that you can let your pet out to move a bit and to also relieve itself. The third sign has a blue fork and a blue knife against a white and blue background. This sign means, of course, that there's a restaurant ahead where you can purchase food and beverages. And then the very last sign, for those of us, who might look at it and think, golly, what is that? Well, it's meant to be a bed and a person laying on a bed under a blanket. And so this sign means that there is a hotel or motel ahead. And so you can rent a room to sleep for the night when you're taking a road trip. So if you're driving overnight and you start to feel yourself getting drowsy, or the person that you're driving with is getting drowsy, and you see the sign, I would take advantage of it. I would stay at the hotel or motel. That way your body is able to get rest and you're not driving for extended periods of time without sleep, because that can negatively affect your driving abilities, okay, and compromise your ability to focus and attend to what's on the road and upcoming exits and things like that.